Hey folks, Alex here, 9 to 5 to Freedom. In today's video, we're going to talk about how one tweet can change everything. We'll give an update on what's happening in this crazy market since last Friday, talk about what's going on with my portfolio, and week 40 dividends. So make sure you stick around for this video if you're new to this channel. My name is Alex. I document my journey achieving financial independence using high yield dividends from funds like Neos, Roundhill, and others. So let's hop into it, folks. Lots to cover. All right, we'll talk about the elephant in the room, folks. We had an interesting pullback last Friday, right? So if you haven't been under a rock, look at this. We went from a very nice bullish morning to an abrupt correction. And that all happened because our president decided to tweet on this Friday morning that we're entering some kind of trade war with China, and the market just went crazy. It went insane. Everybody started selling off. We were watching our accounts bleed in the red, not really knowing what to do at that point. But yeah, it was a little bit crazy, and I think a day like Friday really put in perspective a lot of things. What am I investing in? How diversified I am? And how much margin I'm using. There are folks who used a lot of margin who got wiped out. There's even a guy around my age who took his life because he lost everything with some crypto investments. One of the cryptos, I don't know if you guys paid attention to this, XRP. Let's see here. Apparently that thing crashed like 40% or something crazy on Friday. It went like below this line. A lot of people got stopped out, and a lot of folks lost a lot of money in it. So what are we getting with all this? Well, there could be volatility from just a single tweet, and it could alter the course of your investment, of your future, of everything else, and that it comes back to being diversified. It comes back to not taking too much on margin. All right, so the market did bounce back, folks, slightly today. Well, it did in the after hours on Friday as well, but today we had a little bit of a recovery. S&P 500 up 1.5%. If we look at the 5-day, you could see that we gained about half of what we lost. We'll take a look at QQQ, the NASDAQ, 5-day chart. We recovered about 2%. Okay, let's talk about, see what else happened today. Russell up 2.79 today. Gold up 3.24%. We're over $4,100 in gold, which is just crazy. All right, then today, I guess, or over the weekend, Trump tweeted that, hey, you know, it's not that bad. We'll figure something out with China, so relax. And then everybody started buying back into it. Honestly, I feel like there's some market manipulation. I don't want to pinpoint on who it is or what's causing it, but it's just crazy what's happened. There's so many stories I was looking into. I don't want to make this a conspiracy theory channel, but I think there's some interesting stuff out there. All right, let's talk about my portfolio, folks. We'll give you the 1 week rundown. Look at this. This is what happened on Friday. All right, we were coasting really nicely. My portfolio is sitting at 247 at 10 a.m. just after the market opened. And then we just began this crazy slide downwards. We were down 7.5%, folks. 7.5%. Over $18,500 down on my account. That was a little bit painful. Now that same day we did see a slight recovery up, and today it's been slowly crawling back up as well. So we're still down 2.67% for the week. For the month, we're actually still in the green, 0.63%, but we basically just erased all of the gains that we had in the last couple of weeks. Okay, so as of right now, my portfolio is sitting on $240,000. And let's look at what my holdings are and how everything has performed before we get into what we received in dividends. Now, on a very red week like we had last week, I mean, getting those dividends was like a drop in the in a bucket. It really didn't do much. It's like if there's a fire and the fire trucks are pouring hundreds of gallons on a fire, and you show up with a cup of water and you're trying to help out. So that's what those dividends really felt like on Friday. Okay, we'll look at the largest positions as always. XDT, folks, we're up 1.5% today. We're down 3.65% on our position. QDT, we're up 2.24% today. We're down 0.4% on our position. Not bad for QDT. Maggie, this one got beat up a little bit. We're down 1.87% year to date. YBTC, folks, this one really hammered me. I'm down over 10% on this. I was down as much as 13% on this. I have quite a bit of money invested into YBTC. I've talked about this on my previous video. I'm not ready to sell it yet. I think, I'm going to hold on to it. It's paying okay. It's just, I feel like it should adjust its dividend to maintain its NAV. That's just my opinion. Alti has been flapping its wings. We're down 5.8% on this one. And right now, average price is $5.41 with my price at $5.74. I'm still holding on to it out of curiosity. We'll see what happens to it. Not bad. I mean, it's beating YBTC. WPay, this is a new one, folks. I had a video on this one. I have 300 shares on this position. I'm down 2%, obviously, with the pullback. Blocks, I had some folks recommend this one. Of course, when I got into it, that's when the crash happened. That's usually my story. Eggy, I've held this one for a bit. Look at this. I'm up 6% on Eggy, which is pretty cool. IAUI, okay? So this is the gold position. Gold's been going through the roof, 4.5% up. SMCY, I've held this one since this spring, and I'm down 30% on this position. So I'm kind of just hanging on to this one just for the fun of it. BTCI, I have a little bit of shares. I'm down 3.6%. And I got into WHO again, of course, right before it went down. So I'm down 7.8%. I just can't win at this game, folks. Every time I seem to buy something, it goes down. Good thing I didn't buy too much of it. But the rest are all just small positions just for me to track stuff. So anyways, that's where we're sitting as of today. If you're new to this channel, I like to keep my portfolio around $250,000. I pretty much just pull off the top. I use margin, folks. Again, with this pullback, kind of been rethinking how much margin do I want to use. I've held as much margin as dollar for dollar. For every dollar I've invested, I borrowed a dollar. I've reduced that since last week, which really helped me out with this pullback. Obviously saved me a little bit more headache, but my rate is 5% Robinhood. You can see here my margin maintenance requirement is $99,000. I have a buffer $140,000, and this is my own money, $240,000. I'm using $154,000 on margin. Now, this is something, again, I've been thinking about how much margin do I actually want to carry long term. And with this pullback that we had, last Friday, I feel like the magic number for me, and none of this, folks, I'm not telling you guys what to do, but this is what I'm thinking. For me personally, I think magic number for me is to borrow about 25% of what my portfolio, what I have of my own money. So if I have $250,000, that means I'm going to borrow roughly around $62,000. I think that's a pretty safe spot. And that pretty much covers me on any size correction. Like if we have like a 50% correction, whatever, I'm not going to be wiped out. And that's really my goal. I want to be able to ride through the storm. Because think about it, just what happened on Friday. If I would have had, let's say, over leverage, let's say I borrowed $3 for every dollar I had invested. Well, I probably would have been margin called. I would have got wiped out. And all we had to do is wait just a day for it to bounce back half of the way up. So situations like that, I think, obviously, yes, in a bull run when you can go for 3-6 months with no corrections and you're able to capitalize on that margin, and you can make more money. But in black swan events, or nobody can predict when the president's going to tweet something about some kind of tariff or anything like that. And I think that's the danger. Back in the day, before we had Twitter, before we had social media, for the president to make an announcement, he'd have to go on TV. There'd have to be a newspaper article, whatever. It was just the news moved much slower back in the day. And I feel like today it's so high paced. So anyways, that's what I'm kind of thinking long term. I really want to kind of decrease this margin just to pad things down. And I'm sure a lot of folks in the comments will agree with me. There might be some folks who don't, but if you agree, leave in the comment below. I'm thinking 25%, so around like $60,000 I really want to borrow, and that's about it. Okay, so we covered that. Let's talk about dividends. Week 40, folks. This is my dividend tracker. It's a free, Google Sheets tracker that I built. I have a video where I teach you how to do it. You can make your own. You don't have to pay anybody to do it. I don't have to make one for you. Everybody collects different funds, so it makes no sense for me to sell you guys anything. But here it is, week 40, folks. XDT, $509. QDT, $540. OT, $515. YBTC, $426. And Maggie, $522. That's my dividend Avengers, okay? Right here. $2,500 is what we got for last week. All right, nothing else paid out. So year to date, we've got about almost 70 grand in dividends. Okay. So that's what we got. Again, portfolio down. Will it recover? Have absolutely no idea, folks. I don't think anybody has any idea anymore. There's so much news, so much information coming from both sides. We're going to have a market crash completely. Other folks saying this is just beginning of a bull run. I really don't know. And honestly, everybody adjust to your own risk. I think this is a time to maybe settle down a little bit, not go too crazy until we come out on the other end. All right, so that's all I want to cover for today. I think that was enough. So thanks for watching, folks. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Leave a comment below, and give me a thumbs up if you like these type of videos. So we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.